Hello, this is Theron Fight.
This is Mark Cardone. This is the Achieve Results Now podcast, the podcast that gives you immediate actions you can take to start seeing life-shifting results now.
And we're very excited. This is our very first podcast. So on this podcast, we're going to talk about how to create an outstanding morning routine. There's three key factors. Number one,
we're going to start the night before and we're going to develop a game plan for the morning ahead.
Number two, we're going to talk about the importance of hydration and nutrition and some tips on how to create that energy.
And then number three, we're going to talk about exercise and getting your body moving and geared up first thing in the morning to create energy for the rest of the day.
Yeah, you know, one of the things I think is extremely important is to really get a great morning routine. You know, that's something that I know that I've been working on for several decades, and I certainly don't have it down pat, but I know there is some certain things that definitely work. You know, so Mark, what are a couple things that you do?
Well, one of the first things that I think everybody needs in a good morning routine doesn't even start in the morning. I think it actually goes into starting the night before. When a pilot gets into an airplane, they obviously have a list of things that they do. They don't just show up and check things and kind of decide, okay, yeah, this looks good, this looks good. They have a list of things that they have to do. So I think it's important the night before to sit down and lay out your morning routine. You know, whether that's 3 things, 5 things that's your goal that you're going to do in the morning, first thing when you wake up.
That's great. That's great advice. And along with that is when you set your priorities, you know, think of maybe your top 3 that are the most important thing, that if you complete that day, that you will have a very successful day. So I think that's great advice. When you get up in the morning, do you feel that matters?
I do, and actually, it's funny, when my alarm clock goes off, if I don't have my day lined up, or at least my morning lined up beforehand, that snooze button looks more and more attractive, because, I can really set my alarm for 5 o'clock, and if I don't have to be up at my first meeting until 8, I hit the snooze thinking, well, I can get up at 7:30 and get ready. So having a list, of 3 to 5 things that I have to do before that first meeting or before I get in the shower in the morning really helps me not hit that snooze button on my opportunity clock. I don't call it an alarm clock. I call it an opportunity clock.
Now, what would you say somebody that gets up normally at 8 o'clock in the morning? Would you suggest that they get up at 5 in the morning?
I would say you're getting up too late. I would say you should get up earlier. I'm a 5 a.m. club member, so I like to get up at 5 o'clock because that first 3 hours of the day. Now that I have 2 little kids, it's actually about 2 hours before they get up. But it's 2 hours that I have to myself to really work on achieving my goals and setting my goals for the day, as opposed to having to get up, get in a shower, and get right to a meeting that I'm unprepared for.
Sure.
So I would definitely suggest. Now, if somebody's getting up at 8, I wouldn't suggest setting your alarm tomorrow for 5. I would say set it for 30 minutes earlier and use those 30 minutes efficiently. And then once you see the benefits of that, you will absolutely start going earlier.
Great advice. Something I want to talk about is once you get up, how's your body? What are you doing? Now some people are morning people. They get right up and they get going. They literally jump out of bed. I'm one of those people. Other people, like my wife, like to get up a little slower.
I'm the opposite.
Yeah.
I do not like to get up in the morning. I am a morning person by force, not by choice.
Well, that's good to know that it really, you could be not a morning person and still have a good morning routine.
Mm-hmm.
So what I want to speak about, though, is once you get out of bed, whether it's fast like me or slower like my wife, is making sure that you breathe. And now that sounds kind of funny because everybody breathes, but how you breathe is very important. If you're taking deep breaths, you're opening up to make sure that you're getting full breaths. That's going to help wake you up and get your body stimulated and ready for the day. Do you do anything like that?
I do. I think people naturally assume that they're breathing. And the thing is, when you're sleeping, I don't think we know our breath patterns. We don't know how deeply we're breathing. So getting that oxygen to my brain first thing in the morning is something that really helps me with my morning routine. It's really, nothing more than 5 to 10 deep breaths, getting oxygenated, that helps me at least beat the alarm clock.
Yeah, absolutely. Something that I've done for several years is working out in the morning. Now, I'd like to say that I work out every single morning, but certainly 5 days a week is my typical routine. And working out could be as simple as a walk. And I think that many times walking is so underrated, where it has huge benefits. Even if you do a 15, 20-minute walk in the morning. Yoga is great. Going to the gym, doing some cardio, running, doing martial arts, all of the above is also going to help you get the breathing going. And most importantly, I think, is getting your mind focused for the day.
And when I first started waking up early, my first goal for working out was to move my alarm clock more than right next to my bed. So if I could move my alarm clock 10 feet from the bed, just that walk from my bed to the alarm clock was a good start for me. And then it seemed like I was less likely to skip my workout because I was already up, I was moving, and crawling back into bed after I had already walked 20 feet. As goofy as it sounds, it
Right.
really did help. Because most people, I think, now sleep with their phone or clock right next to their bed.
Sure.
And hitting that snooze button is almost a matter of habit instead of something they're really thinking about when they wake up.
Absolutely, yeah. And I talk about mind over mattress. Many times we like to sleep and like to feel comfortable with that. That certainly is fine. But if you really want to achieve goals, it's so important to set your day off on the right track, and exercise and getting up at a timely manner before hopefully other people in your household gets up.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned with your children, especially as they're young, they require a lot of attention.
It's a very different morning when I wake myself up at 5 o'clock and have 2 hours to achieve something, as opposed to when they wake me up, at 7:05.
Right.
And I have to go right into their day, and I don't have time for my day. So
Absolutely.
And something else that I do on my, originally on my walk from my bed to my alarm clock is, I put my alarm clock right next to my kitchen sink. So that way I can grab a glass of water. The body gets extremely dehydrated when you sleep. So having a big glass of water, a lot of people don't like to drink water. My wife is one of them. So lemon water, even if it's, nothing sugary, but even if it's some kind of flavored water, just having that in the morning will help get your body hydrated, oiled, and moving.
Absolutely. And this is one of the secrets in the Japanese culture that they talk about all the time is getting your body going in the morning with water. So that is definitely great advice and something that I do every morning. Now let's talk a little bit about nutrition. Now that can be a difficult subject because there's a lot of different views on nutrition, and some people feel they don't need to eat in the morning. Some people feel they do need it in the morning. So I don't want to really get into the weeds with this, but a couple tips for nutrition. I think having something in the morning is certainly better than not. Would you agree with that?
I would absolutely agree.
Your mind is just going to be, your mind is starved just like your body, and you need to have that to get going.
And it gives you another bullet in your morning routine. So it's another thing to do that you're going to be up and motivated to get going with.
Absolutely.
But absolutely, the body needs fuel, and I think people who skip breakfast tend to have larger lunches, larger dinners, and more snacks.
Absolutely.
So I know when I have a good protein-packed breakfast, I really don't want to eat until 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And something that I've been doing for the past few years as far as breakfast is every morning is 2 eggs. And very rarely is it not. And that's virtually 7 days a week. Maybe on a Sunday I'll have something different. And so that is something for me that's helped me, whether it's just protein for you or there's a little mix. Certainly I wouldn't suggest donuts and coffee.
Right.
in the morning.
That's a fair suggestion.
Yeah, but like you said, anything dealing with protein and fruit or anything like that certainly will get you going.
We should actually do. I'm gonna put this live on the podcast. We should do a podcast on bagels versus donuts.
Ooh,
because I
nice.
think that's always been a very debated, which is better for you.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty clear which is less less fattening, but I think in general. So we should do a separate thing on that.
Oh, maybe we will. That sounds like a great idea. And in the morning routine, a few things that we've talked about just to review is, one, making sure that you start the night before with some solid priorities, 3 to 5 like we said. The second thing we talked about is making sure that when you get up, you get up.
Absolutely.
So your suggestion was to put your alarm clock several feet away, so you actually have to get out of bed. That's a great suggestion. Other part of morning routine is hydration. A full glass of water, at least 8 ounces, but if you can do 16 ounces, that's even better to get your day going.
And let me jump in on that real quick. Coffee is hydration. Coffee is water, but water is just as important. So make sure that even if you have coffee, have water before that cup of coffee.
Right. So is water different than water?
Water is way different than water.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
That's good to know.
Water.
And then we talked about nutrition. Something with protein, something that's healthy, that's going to get your day started. And that should definitely make sure that you're on the road to more success.
And because Achieve Results Now is really, we want to differentiate, and we want to be a podcast and a website that really drives you to action. We're going to try something, and what I want to do is I want to actually make a checklist for a morning routine, and I'm going to put it online on our website under this podcast notes, if I can do that. We're going to try it. So that'll be on there. It's going to be a little checklist that you can fill out with your morning routine for tomorrow, so you can get started right away. Thank you for listening. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast. On the next episode, we're going to talk about getting your mind and body into peak state.
Also, exercising your goal-setting muscle and the importance of gratitude. Thanks, everybody.